Tonight I will be telling you one of the oddest tales here at the Fireside Tales, from one of our oddest residents. It's the story of Marissa Boulevard, and there's a lot of debate here about this woman, and, I guess the best way is to just go ahead and start, but she might be much more important than all of you realize. But let me go ahead and get the lights. Marissa Boulevard put herself on a pinnacle. She believed she was greater and more powerful than anyone else in the world. She saw herself as beautiful, as wonderful, and the people would flock to take pictures of her. She was a great actress in Hollywood. Everyone wanted to see her, everyone just wanted to be in her presence. And while many people, given love like this, would become good, for some reason it went the opposite way for Marissa. Love turned her evil, it turned her cold. But anyways, she decided that she would not do all the things that the people wanted her to do, that she wanted to do only what she wanted to do. She believed her way was the best way, and she had no interest in what anyone else had to say. In her mind, her life was her own. But this made her also a very dark person. She did whatever she wanted. And there was one person that could talk sense into her, could talk goodness in her, could talk something higher even than herself. It was Bartholomew. Bartholomew would often talk to her about God and about mercy, and she would listen to him, and she kept him around. He was a rather big man, by the way. He dressed all in blue, and anyways, Marissa Boulevard, she was staying at the Sunset Hotel, and she was sitting there, and she was watching Shirley Temple. Now, Marissa loved Shirley Temple. She would watch the movies over and over again, and she never seemed to get tired of them. And as she was sitting there and Bartholomew came in with some tea, she said, "Oh, Bartholomew, if only we could have an actress out there like Shirley Temple." "Yes," said Bartholomew. "Marissa, I think that I am going to have to retire." And Marissa said, "Oh, it's about this new shoot you're doing. I'm afraid I don't want to be a part of it." "Oh, come," said Marissa. "What you must understand, Bartholomew, is that the sheer ability to know that I am in control of myself gives me confidence, makes me feel alive, real for a change. I want to feel real, Bartholomew, but it's wrong. Don't you have any reason? Don't you have the realization that this could hurt a lot of people?" And our stories don't tell exactly what it was that Marissa was about to do. I'm sorry to tell you all that. And Marissa, she said, "Oh, Bartholomew, I do not have time to worry about what other people think of me. No, I shall do as I feel is fit. That is the best way. But so many people have a problem with it. There must be something wrong with it. Marissa, please, I ask you, as your friend, do not do this." Marissa looked at him for a moment and said, "I see. I know how you feel. You always talk about it, right? Those fireside tales. Those fairy tale stories where there's a happy ending, where there's just a perfect world. But I can't be a perfect person. I'm not asking you to, but I believe that down deep in your heart, this isn't what you want to do. That you don't want to be this person. That you're not making these choices because you believe that they're right or that you really want to do them. I believe you're hurting yourself, Marissa, and I don't want you to hurt yourself any more." Marissa looked at him and said, "Well, Bartholomew, I think it's best that you leave. You're, after all, quitting. You have no need for me, and I have no need for you anymore." Bartholomew looked at her, and he seemed hurt. And as he was walking away, Marissa said, "Bartholomew, why is the toy over there?" And Bartholomew turned to her and looked at her with horror. It seemed almost an unreal look. And Marissa walked over and she grabbed hold of a little doll. "I told you to not take this out of the closet." She ran over and she opened the door of the closet, and inside the closet there were all these toys, old toys, deformed. They had their stuffing out, and she threw the doll in there and she closed the door. "Don't open that closet again." "Never again, Bartholomew." Bartholomew looked at her for a moment, and then he walked out the door, and Marissa sat there. And then she closed her eyes, and when she awoke, she looked around, and she decided to go about her normal business. She put on her white coat and her black pants and her black boots, and was about to go outside, maybe get a drink. And as she walked out, she noticed that there was nobody in the halls. There was no person, and she went over to the hotel a lobby, and she said, "Hello? Is anyone there?" Nobody was there. She thought it was very odd, and she couldn't come up with any explanation of it, but she walked out of the hotel, and she found that it was still night out, and there were stars all about, and the whole land in front of her was barren. Anyways, Marissa Boulevard walked around, and she couldn't understand what was going on. There was no city. Where was everything? And she yelled out, "Hello, am I the only one here?" And as she walked, she suddenly realized she came towards a ledge, and out there was nothing but an abyss, just an entire universe. And she realized she was on an island, and all that there was this hotel and herself. Anyways, Miss Marissa Boulevard couldn't explain what exactly had happened. Anyway, she ran back to her room, and she put back on the Shirley Temple movie and watched it, and she thought to herself what was going on. She tried to call the police, but there was nobody on the end of the line, of course. Marissa Boulevard thought to herself this was exactly like something that might have happened in one of Bartholomew's stories, but she said to herself that she would get out of it. She knew there had to be some sort of explanation. She tried to go back asleep and wake up, and she tried a whole bunch of other things to escape it, but nothing seemed to happen. I don't know how much time exactly passed. She ate the food that she could find in the hotel, and she drank the water, but strangely enough she found that she didn't need to eat or drink or even sleep. She felt like she just was there, and that was all there was to it. Of interest, only one thing I can think of happened, and a few others that'll occur later on. But Marissa was going towards the window, and she opened it up, and she saw a bunch of crows sitting on the porch. And she realized there was life there, and she ran towards it, but all the crows flew away out into the stars. And Marissa, she looked out, and she couldn't explain it, but anyway, she laid down eventually, and she watched as a drop of water fell down from the ceiling. "I'm sorry," she said to herself. I didn't mean to do it all. It was just, I was so bored. That was the thing, it was life. It was so very long, each second. Each second you wanted to feel something, you wanted to feel anything. So I had to do it. I had to be what I was. I am sorry. Bartholomew. I had to do it. Bartholomew, answer me, please. Please, Bartholomew, come back. Please, everyone, come back and see me. See me and tell me how wonderful I am. Well, anyways, nobody was coming. So the next couple of days, nothing happened, but then the occurrence happened, the great occurrence. Marissa was going to her room, and she opened the door, and she realized that there was somebody speaking, singing a song. Well, she walked in, realized her Shirley Temple movie was playing, although she could swear she did not turn on the movie. Well, anyway, she walked up, and Shirley Temple was singing, "It's a hard-a-knock life for us, it's a hard-a-knock life for us." And then Shirley Temple turned to Marissa Boulevard and said, "It's a hard-a-knock life for us, isn't it, Marissa Boulevard?" Marissa Boulevard let out a terrible scream, and Shirley Temple looked straight at her, and Marissa Boulevard pulled open the door and found all the toys from that attic just sitting around. And she looked round. No, you all don't understand. Please, I just did what I had to do." All the toys were looking straight at her. And then suddenly they all seemed to come alive, and they began to grab hold of Marissa. They all ran towards her, and she was buried underneath the toys. And then there was darkness for a moment, and then we returned to Marissa Boulevard, who was sitting out in the barren land, and all the toys were sitting around with her, and they all had cameras, and Marissa Boulevard was smiling, and she was walking around, and she believed herself once again to be an actress, a celebrity, just as she had before. And all the toys were taking pictures of her, and she said, "Oh, please, that is quite enough. Oh, how wonderful it is to be here amongst the stars." And that is all. It's a very strange story, I admit, but it is a very true one. And as always, sweet dreams and good night.